Hi everyone, my name is Nawati and my student number is 24 2020 60. Today I'm going to present my project for the Cross-Culture Understanding course. The title of my presentation is Understanding Culture Differences, Individualism versus Collectivism between Indonesian and Western Cultures. In this presentation, I will first explain what culture and cross-culture understanding are, then discuss one major culture difference between Indonesia and Western countries, and finally connect it with Hofstede culture theory before giving my reflection and conclusion. What is culture? Culture is basically the way people live, their beliefs, values, habits, customs, and ways of communicating. We are not born with culture, we learn it as we grow up from our families, schools, and communities. Now, let's talk about three main characteristics of culture. First, culture is learned. We learn culture through imitation and social interaction. For example, we learn how to greet elders or how to behave politely by observing people around us. The second, culture is shared. Culture is not just for one person, it's shared among members of a society. For example, Indonesians share the value of gotong royong or working together. The last one, culture is dynamic. Culture keeps changing over time. For instance, Indonesian youth today mix local tradition with modern global trends like K-pop or social media slang. These three characteristics show that culture is alive and always evolving. Now, what about cross-culture understanding? Cross-culture understanding is the ability to understand, respect, and communicate effectively with people from different culture backgrounds. It's not just about knowing what makes people different, but also learning how to adapt and respond appropriately when we interact with them. For example, when an Indonesian talks with a British or American person, both sides need to understand that their way of expressing opinions might differ. With cross-culture understanding, they can communicate smoothly without misunderstanding or offending each other. Why it is important for English education students? For English department students like us, understanding culture is extremely important. When we learn English, we don't just study grammar or vocabulary, we also learn how people in English-speaking countries think, feel, and interact. This helps us become better teachers, translators, and global communicators, because language and culture cannot be separated. Now let's move to the main part of my presentation. One major culture difference between Eastern and Western culture is the concept of individualism versus collectivism. In Western cultures like the US or UK, people are individualistic, they value independence, personal goals, and self-expression. They are taught to speak up and stand out. In Indonesia, which represent Eastern culture, people are collectivistic. They value family, community, and harmony. We are taught to fit in and maintain good relationships with others. Let's see some real-life examples. When choosing a university or a job, Indonesians often consult their family first before making a decision because they value collective agreement. But in America, people usually decide independently based on their personal goals. In the classroom, Western students often express their opinions directly and even disagree with their teachers, which is seen as confidence. Indonesian students tend to be more reserved and show respect by listening quietly. Neither is right or wrong. There are just different ways of expressing respect and confidence shaped by culture. Connecting to Hofstede's theory, we can understand these differences more clearly through Hofstede's culture dimension theory. especially the dimension of individualism versus collectivism. Hofstede found that countries like the US or UK score high individualism, meaning they emphasize independence and personal achievement. Meanwhile, Indonesia scores low in individualism, meaning we emphasize relationship, loyalty, and group harmony. This helps us understand why communication styles differ. For example, an American's direct speech isn't as honest and clear, but Indonesians might think it's too blunt or rude. On the other hand, Indonesian polite or indirect way of speaking might seem unclear to Westerners. Understanding these differences help us communicate more effectively and respectfully. To conclude my presentation, I would like to say that culture plays a huge role in shaping who we are in the way we think, speak, and act. By learning cross-cultural understanding or learning cross-cultural theories like Hofstede, we can better understand and respect people from different backgrounds. From doing this project, I learned that being open-minded, empathetic, and adaptable are the keys to effective cross-cultural communication. As future English teachers, this understanding helps us connect with our students and with people around the world. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoy it and learn something new today. Have a great day, everyone!